Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to start a series on skill points and how to do skill points and skill trees. So stay tuned, we're going to implement some skill points today. Alright, so we have our current project as we just put in the keypad thing to open this door. Now we're going to look into skill points. So what we have right now is what we want to do is when the player levels up, they will get one skill point, and they'll be able to use that skill point to unlock abilities or passives, or let's say weapons, or like some games use like licenses or something like that. So like they could get the license to use a certain type of weapon. For example, like maybe the player couldn't pick up a rocket launcher unless they got the license to do it or the ability to do it by unlocking it in the skill tree. So we're going to implement a skill tree user interface as well as skill points. But I'm going to start very simply, and we're going to start from the beginning. First, we need to be able to level up. So right now, the player is not leveling up. We do have level and we do have experience points already in the player class, but we aren't actually leveling up. So what we can do is just get the leveling um, user interface, and we're going to put like a user interface somewhere in this corner or up in this corner to show what level the player is and how many experience points they have. So let's start with that. Um, and then we'll look at skill points after that. So to do that, we need to, first of all, I'm going to create and I have reorganized the project here. So I put everything physical in the environment is in here, in the environment, and then we got the UI under one section, the manager, any managers you have there, the player, post-processing, lighting, and cameras. So just to keep it organized. But what I'm going to do is create a capsule. So we're going to create a sort of a pickup capsule, and this one is going to be for so when the player picks this one up, it's kind of big, so I'm going to remove, scale it down a little bit. But when the player runs into this, we want it to grant him, let's say, 100 experience points. So let's do that. So in the capsule here, we'll call it an XP boost. And we'll put it underneath where everything else is in the environment section. And we'll add a trigger to it. And the trigger will be on physics, on trigger enter. If the player enters the trigger here, the collider, we're going to just give it is trigger and not actually be running into it. It's going to be, the player will run through it and pick it up. So on trigger enter, the player, and then what we want to do here is just go stats, change attribute, no, change stat, because XP is not an attribute, it's a stat. So we want to change the experience and add 100 to the value. And then the player will add 100 experience points. Now, the experience points here, this is from the examples, so it's the game creator examples. So the experience points here, it starts off with 1, so the player actually has 1 experience point to start. There's no formula here, but the formula comes with the level. So if you look at the level, the player starts at level 1, and the level formula covers how it levels up. So let's take a look at the level formula. and it's using a table, and it's passing in the XP to this leveling table. So take a look at the table. So the table has a linear progression. So max level is currently set to 30, and increments per level is 50. So if you give the player 100, it'll go up a couple of levels, I think. So if we do, like, you can change the increment. So let's say 100. So if we give the player 100, it should go up one level. So you can just change it, and you can also change it to a constant, which is more constant. And then you can do a geometric progression, which will be like, um, the more levels you get, the harder it is to level up. And if you want to change the rate, you can do stuff like this. You can make it, see, 0.98, or if you do 1.01, for instance, or 2. Anyway, it tells you. So level 18, 72. So you need 75. So you need a little bit more every time for each level. So, and then you can also say 50, 100. And then the step there is telling you how many XP it needs for the next level. So, and then the range is the starting and ending XP for that level. So, and then so once you get to level 45, you need 244 to get to the next level. It goes up, and it goes up all the way to level 99. So you can set that accordingly here. I'm just going to, and then there's a manual progression, which you can just type in how many XP you want the player to be able to get for each level. So manually. So if you really want tight control over when the player levels up, you can input that here. So I'm just going to go back to the linear progression and put 100 per level. So yeah, so the player will need 100 per level until it goes to 99. So there we go. And then, so let's just see what happens when we run into this right here. Okay, so it ran into it. We didn't destroy it, so let me take a look at the player though. So the player's level is now 2, and XP is 101. So, and then it automatically increases the HP as well, because the max HP, if we take a look at that, back to the player, if we take a look at max HP, the stat, that's in, if I go back to the player class, the max HP stat here also operates on a formula, and the formula is based on this table with a level, and it multiplies it by the max HP. So it actually, the max HP goes up every level. So one thing we want to do when the player levels up is to increase the HP to up to the max. So where would we do that though? Like we should probably put it in like a level manager. So I'm just going to create a level manager. Oops. Level manager. And we'll drag it up under the managers. So the level manager will look to see if the stat changes. So the stat of level. So once the level changes, anytime it changes, we want to set the stat, set the attribute actually. Yeah, not the stat. HP is an attribute. Okay, stats. Set the attribute. Actually, I think change attribute is better. Change attribute. HP. So we're going to set it to the value of the max HP. That way because otherwise if you keep leveling up, the player's HP won't go up. It'll stay at the same level, and he'll have to heal up to get to the max. So we're just going to give him the max HP whenever he levels up. So that's one thing that needs to be done. The next thing is we could create a UI so that we could see what the level is. So under UI, I'm gonna create a text mesh pro, and this will be called the level UI, I guess. I'm not gonna make it a child of that though. And then the text will be, to start with, we'll just use this as well, we're just going to use that actually. And let's take a look where that is. That's pretty big. So this will be the heading. And we're going to put this like up here. I think we're going to put it over here because the status effects ended up showing up over here. So we don't want them to overlap. So we're going to move that over and move that down, move it over here, something like that. I think the font size is pretty big though. It could be this canvas though. Oh, see, so it created a canvas, so we want to make that scale with screen size, otherwise it's not going to match up with the rest. So now you'll see that it made it really small. So now we can make it bigger and say 50. Okay. So this will be the title. And then we need an actual level. So level is going to be like XX, and we'll put it like here next to the title. And this one is going to have, we want to have a stat UI on this. Stat UI. So then it'll be level. And the text, the name of it, we will set to this title. And the value set to the level. So that should automatically populate those things. And those things are going to be found from the level stat. So we'll change this to level. And the acronym, say level. That's where it's going to get this from. And then the actual level, you can also make sure it's 0, 0, 1, 0, 2 by putting in 2 zeros there instead of 1. And then we'll see what this does. As we see, now it says level 1. And now if we go and pick this up, now we're level 2. And we can just keep seeing, and then there's level 3. It takes a little bit more each time. So what we want to do now is look at the XP. So now we will we will create an XP experience bar. So actually we can actually take a look at how they do that in the examples by looking at the UI example, stats examples. Okay. So I think in this one, level up, there's this UI that we can actually take a look at, and that's in the player HUD. I think progress. You've got the experience and the level being displayed here. Now experience is this bar right there. Level is this thing here. This little square, but this little bar here, the experience bar, we can actually take it. We can copy this and paste it into our scene. Don't save. And then we'll paste it in here. So put that in there. So now we have this experience bar, and we're going to move it to the right, I think. Move it over here. Instead of a vertical bar, we're going to change it to horizontal. So experience bar, we can change that to horizontal. And you also have to change the size of it accordingly. So instead of 10 by 930, we got to go 930 by 10. And let's see, how come it's so huge? The width, okay, the width. And because it's the bottom, or something like that. Oh, there we go. Just gonna play around with that till it looks good. And then you can put it here, right underneath. Oops. And position X. We want though. Move it down. It has this weird top and bottom thing, but there we go. And then the experience bar. It's horizontal now, so the fill will be like this. And we can give it a color. Let's say, I don't know what color. Leveling things are usually, but we will do that. So that'll work. And then what it does here is takes this formula UI from the player, and it's using experience ratio. So the experience ratio is a formula that looks at the leveling table and finds like a ratio so that it knows how much experience you need for the next level. So that's what this does. The table.ratio from the XP. And is that, I'm not sure if it, so that's right here. Returns a unit ratio indicating the progress made at the current level. So there you go. It'll level up accordingly. So let's see, it should automatically work. Level 2. So now we're halfway to level 3. Now level 3, because each level takes a little bit more to level up. So there we go. We have our XP bar. And so now we can see what level we are. There we go. So a simple leveling user interface there. So next we want to give the player a skill point every time they level up. So first of all, we have to create that, because right now there is no skill points on here. So what we're going to do is create two things: a stat for max for max skill points. And then, so we're going to use that max. And we'll set it to like 99. And I don't think, we're not going to display it in the UI, so that's fine. And then we will create an attribute called skill points. And we'll give it a name, skill points. And now it wants the max value. That's why we had to create that other one. So the max skill points, start percentage. You want this to be 0, otherwise it will give the player 99 skill points to start with. So we don't want that. The UI, we probably wanted to, we'll display this in the UI. So on the actual skill point user interface, it'll be a separate like menu. So we'll put that there, and then next thing we have to do is add it to the player class. So we have to add the max skill points, and we add the attribute skill points. Okay, so now the player should automatically have that, and it's automatically updated over here. So now when we press play and go look at the player, we have skill points here, 0 out of 99. So we still want to, increment them. So what we want to do is when it levels up, we'll do it there, not in here, but in the level manager. Then we'll add the skill point. So stats, change attribute, skill points, and then we'll add 1. So every time the player levels up, he'll get 1 skill point. So here we go. Let's look at the player so we can see it. Okay, so we've got 0 skill points and now 1. And next time we level up, 2. So now we're getting skill points every time we level up. So that's good. That's what we want. And the HP is also going up every time. So that's working. One other thing we can do is display a message, like when the player levels up, to let them know what just happened. We can also steal that from the examples. So if we go into the stats examples again, go to the level up one. If we look at, I think it's in, trigger level up here, this trigger level up thing. See what it does here. So this is their sort of on stat change level. So they instantiate this FX level up, and then they set the player's HP to the max as well as we did. But they instantiate the level FX level up, so that's over here. And what this does is displays this message. When we look at it in 2D, it says level whatever reached. So let's see if we can do that as well. So all we have to do is copy this into our scene, and then, okay, let me paste it. And instead of just having this there, we're going to copy that and put it right here. So it instantiates it at the player position, right wherever the player is. So this is this prefab. So let's take a look, and we don't need the original, and we'll see what happens. Okay, okay. Level 2 reached. There we go. It's working. It actually instantiates like a particle system as well when we level up. See, there's particles that go up as well. So it's pretty good. You can change the UI as well by looking at that prefab. So if you look at in the prefab, you can always clone this and make changes in this canvas here to match whatever you want for your game. So it's easy to just put that in there right now. So that's it for this video. I'm breaking this up into several parts. So next time, we're going to take the skill points and use them to unlock abilities. So we're going to create a couple of abilities, and then we're going to create a UI to be able to spend those points to unlock those abilities. So that's coming up in the next video. So like and subscribe, and you can leave your comments down below. If you would like to be a patron, please check the link in my description below. Patrons get early access to these videos as well as the project file um, that is related to the video. And many thanks to my existing patrons. I appreciate your support. So that's it for this video, and we will see you in the next one.